There was no crime scene at Manhattan Beach. By the time I tracked down Detective Maxwell at the station house, I knew something was wrong. Dead wrong. I didn't mention Elizabeth Short, but I did tell him about my call. He looked at me like I was crazy. He hadn't called. The Biltmore was closed, and I had no leads on where Elizabeth Short might be, so I sat, and I waited, and I worried. She never showed for lunch. I had no proof, but I knew Winslow was involved in all this. And I didn't like that thought. I didn't like it at all.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Black Dahlia. We're not in a good spot at all. It's very likely at this point that we can expect the worst for Elizabeth Short. And we don't have a whole lot of places to go as things switch up for the final disc. We have the hotel, we have the Biltmore, which is back available to us. We have to get over there, see what's going on. Alright, Ike, you kind of have to help us. Just noticing that his arm is kind of the only thing that's moving in this case. Fantastic robotic movement. Okay.
Has Elizabeth Short been in here recently?
Not since the night you was here. Not your lucky night, I guess. She left with another guy.
What do he look like?
I'm not sure as I can recall. And most nights she leaves here with a guy. Surprised she didn't just leave you a key.
So with Ike at this point, we are able to get some information out of him, which leads to a whole web of dialogue choices that we're able to do. I'm going to be showing off the dialogue as best I can. One has to do with the key, and the other one has to do with Winslow.
You're sure you don't remember this guy?
I don't know. My memory's still kind of fuzzy.
Pete's sake, really? Yeah, we're gonna do a whole lot of bribing and other things to get information out of him. Sometimes we have to play along.
Your memory is gonna make me broke.
Yeah, I seem to recall a guy come in here and put the moves on your girl. Blonde guy. Real stuffy. Liked to smoke these, black cigarettes. She left with him.
So we can do one of two things. We can question, or we can play along. Questioning his information actually gets us the information we need in order to continue.
Do you know if she's been back to her place?
She hasn't.
How would you know?
Because she ain't been up in her room, that's how.
How would a guy like you know where her room is?
Because she lives right upstairs in 201. Hey, what's that supposed to mean, a guy like me?
A looker like Elizabeth isn't gonna waste time with the likes of you.
And with that, we're actually able to continue on, but there is another way that we're able to get the same information, as well as a bunch of dialogue that we're able to do depending on how deep you want to go down the rabbit hole.
Do you have any idea where he was taking her?
What's it worth to you?
Sorry, pal. Bank's empty.
The wells run dry, huh? Well, I guess I can't say as I remember where he was taking her.
Tell me about this guy she left with again.
You all right? He was a blonde guy. Real stuffed shirt, liked to smoke these black cigarettes. She left with him.
Forget it, pal. I've got more important things to do than talk in circles with you.
No skin off my back, Jack.
Seems to me the only face you can remember is Washington's face on a dollar bill.
Well, Mr. Washington's got a mug a guy can remember. What's it worth to you?
better cough up something good, buddy.
Sorry, friend, I can't help you. I have no idea where he took her.
I ought to sock you.
Oh, what good would that do you?
It might not do me any good, but it would sure make me feel a lot better. Oh, nuts. Forget it.
Key to what?
Are you naive or are you just stupid?
Maybe both. So humor me.
What kind of keys do women leave for guys in hotel bars?
Forget it, pal. I've got more important things to do than talk in circles with you.
No skin off my back, Jack.
She give out keys to her room often?
Often enough to keep a locksmith in business.
I don't suppose she would have left one with you.
Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't.
Forget it, pal. I've got more important things to do than talk in circles with you.
No skin off my back, Jack.
She would never have left the key with a guy like you.
Why not?
With a face like yours?
What's wrong with my mug?
You probably don't even know which room she was staying in.
Oh, yeah? Well, it's room 201, mister. Not that it's any of your business.
Well, thanks a lot.
For what?
Thanks for nothing, buddy.
Anytime.
Can you get me into a room?
Could be. What's in it for me?
This could be. Can you get me in or not?
I might get in trouble if I did. Oh, that's nice. I can't get you in right now. Come back later. I'll see if I can't find a spare key for you.
So, with all that said and done, we get a single piece of information and an untold amount of money just lost in that case. Going up, we need to head to room 201. Now, you can go up to the rooms beforehand, even though it doesn't really look all that obvious that you can. And if you decide to go up here before you get that information, Pearson will say something different.
I don't know if this is the right door or not.
If you have the right information, all the doors that are not room 201 will just do a kind of a lock jiggle kind of sound. So, looking really closely at the actual doors, we're able to figure out which one is 201. Or you can try all the doors, doesn't really matter. So, it's locked, we can't get in. But it is a room at the end of the hall, so chances are it might be accessible from the outside. Because there's a window we can open. A little bit outside, not too much really to see, other than, well, the only other window you're able to access from the fire escape. However, it's apparently also stuck, and that's because of this wooden bar that's over top here, which is actually not that hard to figure out how to work it. You are able to put down the top window enough to pull down the bar in order to actually jimmy the bottom window free. And we're able to step inside because of it. So this is where Elizabeth has been temporarily staying, apparently. Something tells me that she hasn't been staying in here long, or there's just a lot of books that are here from another person. Because they certainly wouldn't be here if this is supposed to be a hotel. Space, time, and deity. Atlantis. The physical basis of heredity? Yeah, there's a... Totem and Taboo. Yeah, these are just kind of a lot of placeholder books. Feels like I'm in an IKEA. Except sometimes they have actual books, too. Now the thing is, like, we're not exactly sure what we're looking for in this room. And to be honest, there's not a lot that we're actually able to examine as well. The dresser we can examine, but the drawers are the same as Mrs. Underhill's place.
There doesn't seem to be anything in there worth looking at.
It's a weird take that they decide to do with this.
In there worth looking at.
Just jimmy the jar a little bit and make it look like you're a big idiot. Might as well just do that. Yeah, same thing with Mrs. Underhill. The dresser is pointless. So, if you were to hide something that was really small, where would you hide that something so that it would be out of reach for a lot of people? Probably, I would hide it right above the door. If you're not sure what we're looking for, it's because you probably haven't looked at the letter that Elizabeth sent Matt Collins. Because it has to do with a key. This key is particularly special. The reason for that is because you might notice that some information of it has been filed out of it. So, and I believe it's time to actually take a look at Collins' letter to see what Elizabeth Short did, and why. So, the letter pretty much goes over information that we already know from the other letter that she sent to Mrs. Underhill, which is that, hey, I'm going to be a big star because I'm going to Prometheus Pictures. But to Matt, she also sent information that she was a little bit paranoid that Mrs. Underhill would throw all her stuff out the window. So she sent all of her valuable stuff over to a locker in Union Station. And to make sure that no one was able to get to it, she filed off the number on the key. Well, that's no good. How are we supposed to be able to find out what locker her stuff is in, now that she's presumed dead? Well, she apparently left a surefire way of figuring out the locker number. What that surefire way is not entirely apparent right now. But we'll figure it out soon enough. It's really the only thing we're able to do in this room. So we can head our way back out and actually head back to the world map, because there's really not much else to do with the Biltmore. That does mean that you have to go through each individual screen in order to get back to the main door and out. But I'll save you the trouble. So with that, since the Sunset Arms is no help, and the Biltmore's pretty much good and done, except for one other thing that's going to be looked at a little bit later, the only thing left is going back to Union Station, specifically this time to the lockers. Not to the shipping office, and clerks, and anything like that. Nope, we don't do that disc. It's just the lockers. Yeah, we're in a slightly different spot this time, denoting that we're dealing with the other side of Union Station at this point. All the lockers. Now, of course, the problem is we don't know which locker that we can go to in order to figure out where Elizabeth's stuff is. Yeah, but that went completely nuts. But yeah, there's a lot of lockers. We could go through each of them one by one. There's no real penalty to that other than wasting a whole lot of time. But there is one other thing that we're able to examine on top of the lockers. And that's the phone. The phone's interesting because we can't use it.
I haven't got a dime.
Yeah, we don't really have that amount of money in order to use it. So what is the purpose of us being shown the phone, exactly? Well, let's check back in our inventory and let's actually look at how Elizabeth Short signs off her letters. It's a rather small thing to note. It's really subtle. But every time that she signs off on something, it's ES. She uses her initials. She doesn't use her name. If we were to take that literally and then put that onto what letters correspond to what numbers on a phone, E means 3 and S means 7. So that would mean that locker 37 is the locker that she put all of her valuable things in. Now it's just a matter of finding it, which is actually right in front of us. Well, but I do have to show what happens when you don't actually find the right locker. So the one underneath it. It's just him jimmying around with a key. But let's open up the actual locker. It's a shame that he doesn't actually say aha. But there's actually not a whole lot of stuff in here. There is the opposite letter to what Collins received, which would be, I guess, Matt's final letter to Elizabeth. Kind of a shame. Getting to see both sides, yeah. Apparently, when Winslow talked to Jennings, Matt was also in the room, though. For all that information does us any good at this point, but it definitely fills in a little hole there. But, it doesn't look like the... Uh-oh. Yeah. The Dahlia's not here. She did have it. She doesn't have it anymore. She sold it for $250, which is quite a lot, to be honest. One large piece of black sapphire to Wellington's Antiques. Or Willington's. Which doesn't bode well. It means that technically we had the advantage on Winslow because he didn't know at all where this stuff was. And if the Dahlia was there, we would have had it. But now we just have to hope and pray that the antique store still has it. Great. I guess that could be the best thing that we could possibly do at this point. Let's head back out, because that's actually the end of Elizabeth Short. We really, after doing the lockers, we don't have much of a reason to think about her anymore. Her lead is done. So next time, we have Wellington's Antiques to go to, but I feel like it's a good idea to actually stop by Sunset Arms first, just to make sure they know that we are coming. So we're going to do that. See you next time, everyone.